everybody. Welcome. This is the first
Everyone.
Midnight Madness of July. How's everybody
Yay.
doing? I see a couple people
Great.
saying, I'm still here. I'm still awake. I like Bruce. Need a little madness. Let the
Yeah.
madness begin. So a little bit of fun. And we've got a global community. This is why I think why I like the midnight show is because you do get a little bit of a global community in the chat, but also the guest. And I don't know where Darren is. I don't know. Darren's our person on the other side of the world as well. So let's see where we're at, Kathy, for numbers.
What am I doing? The overall total number?
Just overall. Yeah.
Overall,
And as you guys know, we don't do the stats on Midnight Madness or the 8 p.m. I might add. So we don't do the stats. So we give you like a total. And Kathy just gave us the total now, and then she'll update us at the very end. So 20,421 is the total that you guys have done.
yes.
The really good thing is as you know, the first day is interesting because a lot of the Americans work, so you don't see a lot of push. So the Europeans really carry this number. So good job everybody on working on that number. And then you'll start to see a really interesting increases tomorrow. As you know, and if you are new, maybe don't know, the word that you type in to win a prize is relatives.
Oh.
So you can type it in uppercase, lowercase, does not matter. Type it in 1,000,000 times, and it's still only going to count once per person. So once you type that word in, we will collect that for the prize. And let me just make sure it is collecting.
It's relatives with an S at the end.
And I will get this up and going. So, and then the prizes, everyone sends out an email afterwards to let you know what the prize is. So you're all set with that. And it should be collecting. There we go. Had to double check. Let me just...
People are having a hard time writing relatives.
You know what? I need a new shirt, so that's why I'm wearing this stuff. Because my other shirt doesn't fit anymore. Well, guess what? I'm going to
So you're going to participate?
Yeah, because I need a new shirt.
You need a new shirt.
Yeah, my old t-shirt doesn't fit very well anymore.
Now, if you have won a prize in the last 6, I should have said this a long time ago, but if you have won a prize in the last 6 months, please don't type relatives. That allows everybody to have a fair chance at it. So when we do the drawing, if you'd already typed it or you've typed it by just having fun and say, oops, I won a prize in the last 6 months, I'm not eligible, then go ahead and let us know and we can redraw. That works as well. Hello, Darren.
Yay.
We were talking about you. We missed you. Where have you been? If you tell me the beach, I'm going to be upset.
And this weather?
Because it's funny because usually when we're like, okay, at the end of a live cast where we kind of sit for just a second and say, okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to go back to adding profiles. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And Darren's always like, I'm taking the kids to the beach. And we're like, what? How can you do that? Okay, somebody asked. Go ahead, Derek.
I'm kid free today. I've got to pick up my son tomorrow and then take him somewhere on Monday.
And then, we were talking about that too. A lot of times, let me give this. I think Stephen asked for the previous winner prize link. So I think this is it. And we were talking, Darren, about how a lot of times in the United States right now, there's a lot of parents doing a lot of things for kids, getting back to school or taking them to college and things like that, or doing appointments. So sometimes on the July-thon, it doesn't really start picking up until middle Saturday. halfway through, then it starts to really pick up and going. So how's everybody doing out there? You guys hanging in there? Are you researching and adding a particular group of people, maybe from one place study, a one name study? We had a lot of people working on Williams, the last name Williams, the last livecast. So that was kind of interesting as well. If we could connect all the Williams that you're working on from around the world, that would be cool. And what mug did you get, Bernadette? Because that's one of the prizes that you can select if you are selected after typing the word relatives. And thank you, Laura. If everybody could hit that like button, we sure would appreciate it. What that does is let us know that not only do you want us to keep doing this Midnight Madness, but it also helps WikiTree in general on YouTube as far as the analytics, if I can say that correctly. And look, we have a William Williams.
Wow. We can have a Williamstown.
And,
Yeah.
and this is interesting. How many of you fell down rabbit holes? I avoid them.
Oh.
If I see them, I'm out.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Sandy,
Yeah.
I want to point out how global our site is. I'm in a kind of a tank top shirt out here in California at 9:00 at night, and then Vicky in Chile has a sweatshirt on. Darren in New Zealand has his sweatshirt on.
I have a t-shirt and shorts on.
I had
Chris
t-shirts,
is a
yoga
t-shirt
pants,
And ankle socks.
and ankle socks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a heater right next to me.
Oh no! And
It was going.
it's funny because just yesterday I bought a thermometer for where I'm at, and I bought it because I'm actually in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I bought it to prove that the North Georgia, southern Appalachian mountains never get that hot. And today on the thermometer it was 100, so we were like 100 Fahrenheit. So I'm like, yeah, Kathy, that's a good point. I'm like, it's hot, and you guys got heaters. I just can't fathom that. I just can't.
We
But
don't
this is
have
also
global.
Midnight Madness. Is kind of cool as well because I think this particular one is the most global,
yeah.
and we've got PJs going on too. I'm not far from that. I'm close for that. And don't tell me that his name was William Williams. That would be too funny. That would be really funny.
I have seen names like that.
You want to talk about a rabbit hole. We were in a rabbit hole with and this is very common all over the world, where they name their kids all with the first same letter, like M or something like that. But then it's fine, if they're far enough apart, like Michael and Marcus are far enough apart.
Oh.
But when they start like Michael and Micah, it was just too much. And then when you add in the census takers who sometimes don't know how to spell the name or something, it was too much. So those are rabbit holes that I tend to avoid. And wow, it is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 9 p.m. in Southern California, and we have 104 last Sunday. And that, Shelley, I'm curious, is that dry heat you always hear about? Or does the heat index go above it? Because over here on this side of the world, the humidity is high. So we definitely get a little bit hotter than normal. Okay, so the whole thing with Midnight Madness is that I ask questions, and those in the studio and those in the audience do not know the questions, and I guarantee nobody knows the questions because I just came up with them about 5 minutes ago. So and I'm going to do something a little different. Usually I share some information, but not too much information. So we are in a new home. So that's why it looks a little different. That's why you don't see a lot of decorations. So in honor of all the moving, the packing, the unpacking, the moving of boxes, the sleeping on the air mattresses, and the pain and suffering I'm going through, I'm going to ask you guys some weird moving questions and home questions. Okay. So starting off, would you ever move to a place you've never visited or researched. And the only thing you can say is, oh, I think I had a relative that lived in Vicenza, Italy. Let me move there. So, would you ever move to a place that you've never really researched and you've never visited?
Maybe just
No,
for the whole day.
I wouldn't.
And it sounds like maybe no, but what if it was like Rome, Italy, or some place that
That you know is beautiful.
Yeah.
That you know is
heard
good.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
no,
I'm
I would at least research online and read everything about that. Yeah.
And this is so been there, done that. So Kate, tell us where. And I love this. I went to Australia. Never visited, but see in your research. So that's where it said this is great. No, but I'm tempted to go to Lake Constance in Germany where my family was. And Vera, thank you for saying this, because this is kind of what Midnight Madness is about. Biography builders for ourselves. So a lot of times people say, I don't know what to write, or I don't want to write too personal information, or, where's the line of what to put about myself? I don't talk about myself. So these are kind of like questions like, I've been always tempted to go here because my ancestors have been there. That's a great biography builder question that you could do. Oh, now
What
see,
about-
this is
what
really
about
cool,
you?
Celia. I did do study abroad in college. That's really, really cool. That was really interesting. I'm sorry, Vicky, I cut you off. What did you say?
Sorry, I interrupted. This makes me think that maybe you moved to some place that you didn't know about.
I would
Is that
say
your
yes.
case?
As a kid, though. As a kid,
Oh.
my stepfather was in the Air Force, and when they send you places at the Air Force, the parents don't really talk about it to the kids until after school's over, because they don't want you screaming, I'm leaving my friends. I don't want to go. So we didn't really have a chance to research it, and we sure didn't have a choice. We were going. So I would say that. But Chris, it depends where. That's true. If you just think, you know what, I'm ready for a change. Where sounds good? Where would I go?
But that's sort of what happened with me and my parents. We were in Auckland and getting tired of the traffic and all that sort of stuff. And my brother goes, why don't you move to Christchurch? So we had a look. He moved down here, and I've been down here 23 years.
And how's it been?
It's been all good.
It's been all good that long, right?
Yeah.
I
Parents
think
went back up to Auckland about 6 years ago.
And I think this is kind of what you were saying as well, Darren, kind of, talking to a friend, talking to a relative, move to a place, and, might have visited another city in that state years ago. But I would say that one of the people have answered something that I would have absolutely have done. And it would be, I would send my little brother someplace like that.
But that's sort of what my little brother did. He sent the rest of the family down to Christchurch. He stayed up in Auckland because he was going into the Navy.
Oh.
That makes sense. So I can definitely see that. And you're right, Katie. When you're in the military, you go where you're sent. I think in more modern times, they might give you 2 or 3 options. And if you're lucky, you get your first one or your second one. But he wasn't apparently given an option, and we went. We just went. Okay, so the next question. This one is a little spooky, okay? A little creepy. So bear with me. This is I'll explain why I asked this question after you guys answer. Would you buy or rent a home if you knew the previous owner died in that home, say the bedroom where your bedroom is, in the past 6 months? Because let's face it, we'd all move to probably a castle where our great parents lived and died.
Hell no.
That would be a no. You wouldn't?
My youngest
I
daughter
would.
would say, "Hell yes."
No. That place is haunted. Go. No.
But you don't know if it's haunted.
Oh, it's haunted.
That's true. That's true. So everybody's saying no. And then, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you when it was cleaned and gutted. I'm going to tell you, that's a good one, how they died. How they died is really probably an important one here. And then Jeff's like, I've been given that option 5 times, but never got the one I asked for. So it's funny. There we go. Evelyn said, yes, I would do it. But would they keep you up late at night?
Yeah.
And then, Kate, I'm seeing a theme with you tonight. And they're done that. and this is a good question with Kathy. I wondered about that. And it doesn't bother Catherine at all. But this is true. It really does depend if we know why they died mysterious deaths. Nah, I don't want to die from the mold.
Mom is in a sixth sense. She sees dead people.
Someone said something about the price. If it's too cheap, then you have to admit that it is haunted.
That's true. If something is too cheap, something is probably, up with
super
that.
haunted.
But you guys are giving really good answers. And yeah, if the house is old enough, you do know someone died there. Like I said, I would move to a castle, where my 20th time verified on WikiTree great grandparents lived and died. I would definitely do that. So I agree again. If it's an old house, it is normal for somebody to do it. And then, grandparents or great grandparents' house. And so I'm going to ask, if you had to cast out the demons, how do you know they were there? And so it's a good question. So the reason why I mentioned that is we had been stalking sort of a house up here for about 2 years, and we would be like, yes, we'll get it. No, we won't. Yeah, we'll get it. No, we won't. And drove a realtor crazy. So finally I said, before we do a contract on this, and we've seen it and we inspected it, let me research who lived there last. And sure enough, as genealogy fanatics here, we're a little too fanatical. So I have researched homes that I was interested in. I've researched who I bought my used car from, who had it beforehand. So yeah, and even though it was a natural death, the home was a tiny cottage, and I just thought I couldn't share it with whatever was left behind. But I will say, Carol, you just mentioned one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. So yeah, I would say in Nolans, it's probably going to be haunted. Something's going to be there, and I know, right? Too fanatical. Is there a such thing? I'm not sure.
Exactly.
If I start like doing the family tree for my insurance agent, I might be too fanatical. I don't know. Okay, so moving on. So we have already found this, and I realized that some people have already stayed in a haunted place. So I want to ask you, host, have you stayed in what was a haunted place, or what you thought was a haunted place?
I feel I have been haunted, but not knowing that a house was haunted. I feel it happened one night.
I've been to a haunted hotel. The Mount Washington Hotel is haunted, and a ghost that was very vain in life. She basically wanted to make sure she looked better than any other woman there. Basically, she was called Princess Caroline. And one day, we're walking down the grand staircase to dinner, and my mom felt an earring pop out of her ear. And went down the stairs, and we had to find it. It was crazy. Then we found out about the ghost, and yeah, that was wild.
Wow.
I think Darren's house is haunted right now.
It's called the snowflake monster.
I like this. I went to see a house to buy and felt something terrible. One of the rooms, have decided not to buy. Margie, how quick did you
Oh.
get the heck out of there?
Wow.
Oh, wait, we have a nice ghost. That's nice. So, see, and as soon as I bring this up, who shows the nice ghost, Snowball? Oh, no. So, you guys are interested. So, I bought a house with a weird vibe, and we sold it 9 months later.
Ooh.
Now, you know that because I'm telling you, I've just gone through all the packing and the moving and things like that. And if you did all that and then sold it 9 months later, and you felt that weird vibe, that was one weird vibe because you wouldn't want to stay there. I agree. I think that this is a perfect time for ghost stories, right before bedtime, and no one's going to think about this. I will say this. I have had brick wall people haunt me in my dreams. You know, you're sitting there and you're working a brick wall and you're trying to figure it out, and you're like going to sleep and you're like, if I could just talk to them, they would let me know.
Yeah. Yes, I do
right?
that. I talk them before I go to bed sometimes. And
Yeah.
please tell me something in my sleep.
Yes. Give me one little clue and I'll find the rest. Where's that word, fanatical? Not us.
Yeah.
One of my college buildings was haunted. Did you go to college in Williamsburg? I know that's another place that's really, really haunted as well. And we owned a 150-year-old field house farmhouse in Wisconsin that was haunted. Granny something has died in the house. See? So I don't know if they died in the house. Maybe it's just not. Oh, this one's tough. They lived in a house where 2 people were murdered, and they said that their dogs would not go in a certain area. Now I got the Yorkies. If they're not going in a place of the house, neither am I. So always trust your dogs. Always trust your dogs. Oh, that's interesting. I've dreamed about doing genealogy on fictional characters. May I suggest you start with the Outlander series first? That would be cool.
Now, there are plenty of fandoms that have family trees of various fictional characters out there. I mean, Harry Potter.
Sandy, do you want an FSP for Outlanders?
No. It would be all pictures of men in kilts, you know? Who wants to see that?
I'm sure someone in the Scotland Project would be more than happy to.
Okay, so moving on then. This is getting into personal choices. So we're kind of out of have you ever lived or would you do this? So personal choices. Would you rather visit 100 countries for a short time? So it means you can go visit 100 countries, but probably be there maybe a month. That's it. And then you'd leave to go to the next country, or live in your favorite country forever.
I think I'd rather visit for a month each.
See, this one's a good one for Chris because, you do so much research in Italy. So you could visit 100 countries all over, or live in your favorite part of Italy.
Yeah, just go to Calabria.
There we go. Thank you, Katie.
I would pick the 100 countries for a short period of time.
Yeah.
I like Silly's thinking both. See, now I got everybody talking about Outlander. Favorite forever. And this is kind of interesting because when I see Alexander write this, I'm thinking, what happens if your favorite country and you've got your favorite home that maybe was your ancestors that's in your favorite country, that would have an effect on you. And then you could also write about that in your biography. This is where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite country and visit. D, you're one of the few that's saying visit. There we go. Visit. I thought more people would say visit.
Yeah, but you have to know a lot of countries before you can decide what's your favorite.
True.
Yes,
True.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering why David is answering and not appearing. Mr. Randall.
We need to do something like the WikiTree Amazing Race.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
You know, the only
you have
problem
to
with
visit
that
all
is
your ancestors'
Yay!
challenges in your ancestors' countries.
I love that idea.
the only problem is I notice with that thing, they don't shower a lot and they don't get to sleep in.
Yeah, you do have that problem too.
Otherwise, I'm there. I would do it.
Yeah, I think I saw a recent one for Canada who, and one couple actually didn't have their bags. They just had what was in their little purses.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, you know, this reminds me, 100, but probably would not go ahead at the last minute. But Angie, you kind of taking your answer and kind of what happens if you pick the visit 100 and you decide that country number 51 is fantastic and you're never leaving? I guess that could be an option too.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens after the 100th country? You go back to wherever you lived, whether you like it or not. And this is a good point. I'm staying where I'm at. I don't like traveling.
You don't. Wow.
So that's funny. You guys have given well, David.
Come on.
This sounds like a commercial, you know? It sounds like a commercial for a hair dryer or something. Or that really weird. See, now I got ghosts in here. I should behave and stop talking. I think the ghosts are definitely here. Okay.
Yeah, your lights are like
I know. I'm a little darker now. We'll bring it back. Okay, so next one. Yeah, I like this, D. Is that the wiki prize? So whoever wins the prize, because you're going to type in relatives to try and win the prize, go ahead and ask A1 if that's the prize. I don't know what the prizes are. She does.
Mm-hmm.
So she might. Oh, David says that's a quote from a TV show. I just washed my hair and it won't. I can't do anything with it or won't do anything. So yeah, I do like this. David, just put your hair in a ponytail and come on.
I have no idea what show that is.
Knowing David, he'll be like a 1950s, 1960s American TV show.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
But I wouldn't be able to sort of narrow it down.
Now, see, I do have to agree. So as we backtrack and go off topic again about talking about Outlander, those birth dates and death dates would be very tricky for Claire, right? She's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I did. This is why hats were invented, David. That's very true.
Imagine Claire's timeline.
I know. I zigzag back. Okay. So would you? This is an interesting one. And this came from my husband. I will tell you. Mm-hmm. So would you rather be able to travel back or forward in time?
Oh, back.
Yeah.
Back.
And you can pick any time frame. It's up to you.
Back.
That's wow.
Like I don't know the prizes. Anyone does. So it might be a haunted house.
Well, yeah, that's definitely next week's prize.
So
that's a reality show where stay at a haunted house.
You know, going forward kind of scares me a bit because I think we know the back. You know, we know how they lived and what they did, but going forward kind of scares me just a little bit. So David said it was from 1970s. Is this a Brady Bunch? I don't know. Someone is Googling it. I hear it. Okay, so we got two answers. Oh, there we go. So back with lots of money so I can shop. And I'm going to tell you guys why Shelly's saying this. Shelly does a lot of characters in real life and she sews the costumes and everything. So Shelly, you can type in a couple of the errors, you know, ERAS, with my little accent, that you participate in activities with. It's amazing. She's shown us some of her costumes and everything that she's made, and it is amazing. And definitely back. Oh, there we go. We got one forward. Tell us why. Because I've got to know. There you go. Both. Are you Claire from Outlander?
Yeah, you got it.
It was Brady Bunch. There we go. I'd like to attend a Shakespeare play. Now that would be when Shakespeare was alive. That would be interesting. Oh no. It sounds like you're one of those fun people. You love fun.
Get it.
And I'm going to agree with Sue. I think I'll stay right here. I'm good. I'm definitely good. Okay. So 2 more questions, because as you know, we're trying to keep the Hangouts a little bit shorter, but Midnight Madness got a free pass to keep it a little bit longer. And this is similar to a previous question that I asked, but in a different way. Would you rather have your dream home, the absolute dream home where you live forever and ever, or the ability to travel as often as you want, living in a tiny home?
Nah.
I guess travel, maybe. Yeah, but I want to travel. I don't want to stay in one spot. I want to travel.
I like tiny homes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go tiny home and travel.
Tiny home and travel. Travel
Yep.
as much
means
as you
you-
want.
That means if you get the dream house, you could never travel.
Yeah, because it's too expensive. You got to
Oh,
pay
no,
all
tiny
your
home.
your
Yeah,
money
tiny.
goes to the dream house, because
Tiny home.
heating that 15 football size pool is expensive.
I love Catherine's response. Tiny home equals less housework, thus making more time
Yes.
for travel. It does.
Exactly.
It does. It does. So a tiny travel tiny. So that's your dream house for sure. Tiny, yep. So you guys are interesting tonight. This was a mix for you guys. Oh, imagine the genealogy room like that in my dream home. Okay, let's all take a moment. How many books do we have? We got to have a nice comfy chair, probably, by a nice, pretty, fancy window, stained glass window, maybe, so you can research. Yeah, I agree. This is the problem. Where to put my books in a tiny home?
Yeah.
So that is tough. Oh, yeah. Well, that's where part of the money's going, Chris, to pay for the electricity on the house and the heat on the big pool and the many people to clean it, do the grass, do the lawn, and then you probably had those fancy topiaries, right? So they got to pay for that too. So give me the dream house and let me stay put. You guys are very, very interesting. Yeah, homes on wheels, traveling genealogy. I like that idea, especially if you've got a lot of places to go. Oh, my cousins are doing that right now, so that's kind of cool. And you talk about the countries where your ancestors. I can't get most of my ancestors out of the forests of Kentucky and Tennessee. I can relate to that. Mine would be Maryland and West Virginia. They don't seem to leave. Except me. I will say that when my brother found out that we moved here instead of where he thought we were going to move, he did say, "Well, you're never going to get to West Virginia out of you, girl." So it's like, okay. So dream home and 20 dogs. I'm with you. Okay. That would be a lot of score. To pick up. Wow. Kate, I must see it. I must see the picture. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to take a selfie in front of those 800 cookbooks for the Thon selfie.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree.
That's what you're going to have to do. Okay. So last question for you guys, and still going similar, but we're going to kind of see what is more tempting to you. Remember, the theme was kind of homes, moving, travel, things like that. So last question: would you rather travel the world for free for 1 year, if you could stay at top of the line hotels, everything's paid for, airfare, travel, hotels, Airbnb, stay in that haunted castle if you want, all your food, all your, tourism things. You never have to pay again to go into Windsor Castle or Buckingham Palace. It's all free. So would you rather do that or travel the world for free for 1 year, or be given $50,000 to spend however you please right here, right now? And
Travel the world for 1 year.
before you ask anyone if this is a prize. I don't know the prizes.
Or I could just take the money and just travel. I mean,
No, one or the other.
Right.
One or the other. This is a hard line here. This is a hard decision. You
travel
gotta.
for free, yeah.
Not for me. It ain't for me.
Traveling.
What is
Traveling,
it?
of course.
The
Yeah.
traveling for 1 year.
This is a good point. Take the
For
50K
free.
and travel. But
For
keep
free.
in mind, for
Yeah.
1 year for free, you can go to as many places as you feel like going. Top of the line, first class, premier. A yacht. You go on a yacht for the whole year if you wanted to go from place to place to place.
Well, I would only be on a yacht for part of the journey, but it wouldn't be. All right, whatever. Because you know where I'm gonna go. You guys all know where I'm gonna go. So,
Italy.
yeah.
That's my
I
first
didn't even
I thought it was somewhere
I didn't
else.
even consider the 50,000. What was it for?
Whatever you want.
Oh no, traveling.
Yes.
I like this. So we get free travel followed by dollar signs. That's a good point. Travel for sure. I'll rack up the travel bill so fast, and you might rack up the points on the airplane.
Yes.
So you can also use those. This is a tough one. You guys are leaning towards travel, but it's close to 50-50 here. I like this. Show me the money. And that's right. Go to cruise to cruise to cruise. Just go from one cruise. When you get off the port, go take a cruise, go in a different direction, and see what you want to do. Yep, all foods included. Whatever food, top of the line. If you want to stay in
Everything.
hostels, stay in hostels. You want to stay at the Ritz, stay at the Ritz. Yeah, traveling for a year would be way more than 50 grand. And this is kind of where it is. So if you don't like to travel, then the 50 grand is the easy answer, right? Or if you are just like, I think I'll only stay like in my country, so that wouldn't be too expensive. I'll take the cash. Or let's say that you need the 50 grand to pay off some part of the electricity bill for your dream home, then you would take the 50 grand. I like this. Show me the money. And then
Or if you have
we
other
need the
dreams.
50K. And I understand this, Kate, because when you have an older home, things go wrong all the time. You're always fixing. You love the old homes, love the old bones of the homes, but you're always doing, and when are we leaving? Chris
You have
will
to
meet
come
you in
here.
Italy for that part of the tour, okay? A 9-month-long cruise. And yeah, can't travel when you own 20 dogs in a dream home, right, Dee?
Oh yeah. I hear you.
I think the dogs might cost extra, but I'm not sure about that. I didn't find out the rules, Chris. I'll have to find out the rules. So yeah, so show me the money and the wine and travel. Always travel. So you guys are having pretty fun with this. I think we've got, let's see. Travel free cost my sister and hubby $55K to fly to Canada from Australia and do a 2-week cruise to Alaska. Let me see what I could do with $55K. I could have my own Outlander, right? I can have my own Outlander show. I can produce it, direct it. I just pay somebody to write the script. Oh, no graveyards to walk and research on a cruise. And let's get off the cruise.
There'll
So
be
maybe.
dead bodies, but you won't be able to get to them. Like
That's
you won't be
true.
able to get their resting
That's
place.
That's
So,
true. But to travel for a year, you could build that in instead of going to see Buckingham Palace. You can say, "Take me to the cemetery."
Mhm.
So you have choices. But yeah, I think the rights would cost more than $50K. I won't lie, Ellis. My show would be very basic. It wouldn't be very fancy at all. It would be like those old days when people had those really big video camcorders, whatever, those real big ones, and they put them on their shoulder because they were so heavy going around. So mine would be kind of like that. I'd have to do that. And I think this will end our tour with you with the questions. Travel, eat, drink, and be merry. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way to end this.
Perfect reflection.
Okay, who has not typed in the word relatives? If you have not typed it in, this is your last chance. Remember, if you forgot, if you typed it in, you can type it in 50 more times. It's only going to count once. And as we go, let's go ahead and bring it up and see who wins. There we go. Let's see. And I'll warn everybody, it gets down towards the winner and it pauses. Your heart stops. You think it's you. And it's Karen. There you go.
Karen.
Girl, that was so mean what they did to you. Congratulations, Karen. And I got to tell you, she's an Appalachian. And every time I'd say most of the time she works on her tree, she increases my CC7 because we're cousins. So
Hey.
congratulations, Karen, to that. And the next hangout will be in a couple of hours. Wow, we went late today, guys. We went a little over our 30-minute limit. So we're going to sneak out. You guys have about 3 hours and 15 minutes until the next one. It's either going to be me or Lesh. So if you're around, jump on in. Otherwise, thank you guys in the studio for being here. You guys make it fun, as well as those of you in chat. And let's get connecting. Bye, guys.
Yay.
Bye.